Shut up and sit down.
Welcome once again to the Shite podcast show. Mark and Ken in
What's the story?
on episode 152 of the Shite podcast show.
Yeah.
Getting up there, getting up there in numbers once
We're
again.
nearly at 251.
Yeah, nearly. Nearly. It is like 4 off.
Like everybody picks targets for 200 and
Yeah, the milestones.
250 and yeah, let's pick weird numbers. So I'm shooting for a 251.
Well, I think we're already. What is it? 252.
We're 152.
Oh, 152. Yeah. Oh, so you're shooting for 151.
251.
251. What about 204?
Yeah, 204 is a good one too. Let's shoot for that.
We'll count down to the days till we're at 204th of our podcast, and we'll have a big kind of celebration, and
we'll make it special.
Make hats that say 204.
Yeah,
that's not a bad idea.
It'll be cool. You can buy one at shitetalk.com or something.
Yeah, €50 a hat.
Yeah,
Goes
signed by us.
Signed by us. Yes, it's only €39 if you want it non-signed by us. Still a rip-off, but slightly less.
€80 if you want a signature phrase.
Well, what would be our signature phrase?
I don't know. We'd have to come up with it. Dave the Duck, probably. We have to talk about that cunt in a while.
Yeah, well, we'd probably just have to. We could have pictures of Dave the Duck. I don't know if we have to pay some form of royalty towards the owners of Dave the Duck if we have him on a T-shirt, but I'm pretty sure we could get like a hairy baby to do us up with T-shirts or someone like that to design a T-shirt for us, like someone who has a little bit more creativity than us, to design a T-shirt or something for us with Dave the Duck, or a caption with Dave the Duck.
We should get rash guards with Dave the Duck.
Yeah, we're kind of niching ourselves off there though, in terms of only our jiu-jitsu audience. Like, I'd love to know how much percentage of our audience do jiu-jitsu.
Probably very, very little.
Yeah, if I'd say very little. They can use it if they ever go surfing in a hot country.
Yeah, or if you want to. Well, I suppose I wouldn't know who John Danaher is.
Yeah, we're way too niche. We're way too small of a podcast to have like a very niche. If we were a jiu-jitsu podcast, maybe. But
yeah.
I don't. People are like, "What is jiu-jitsu? Why do they keep sneezing?" And they're talking about a thing called a rash guard.
Yeah, what's going on there?
Yeah, exactly. We've got kind of a nice variety of stories today.
Yeah,
a lot involving nudity,
as per usual.
In fairness, a nudity does come up in this podcast once or twice. So we have everything from a man chasing after a van butt naked to a drive-through strip club and a swinging festival that's going to happen in post-COVID world.
Yeah, like, what more could you want?
Yeah, and if nudity's not your thing, we also have a hostage.
Stories about men with clothes on.
Yes, a hostage situation where in the Ukraine, where a man held up a bus in order for the president of the Ukraine to promote a documentary that Joaquin Phoenix did.
What more could you want?
Yeah, exactly. So we there is literally something there for everyone. We'll also be discussing whether we think gaming is dangerous or not. So
depends what else you're doing, I suppose.
Yeah, depends what the game, like where you're doing the gaming from. Or what environment you are when you're gaming. But we'll be getting into that as well. And anytime we do topics, remember, if you have opinions, we might revisit them. So always your opinions into it, like shitetalkpodcastshow@gmail.com, or message us on the social medias. And we could do a revised opinions of what anything you're talking about, really. We could go back over it and give what you have to say on the matter. But first, we'll get into our stories. And the first story was about a man in Middlesbrough, England. His name was Nathan Murphy, and he woke up to the sounds of his sister screaming that his 11-year-old niece had been abducted. So bollock Nicky, he ran out of his house to chase after the van, only to realise that it was a false alarm.
Like, how did that turn out to be a false alarm?
So Nathan's sister, Natalie, which I thought was a bit weird that he was called Nathan and his sister is called Natalie. Who are these two people named after? Because the dad's called Michael. So I don't know if both of them are named after their mom in this scenario. But that was kind of the first weird thing. So he thought he heard Natalie, mum of 4, screamed at Lucy before running into the middle of the road, believing that Lucy had screamed mum as a van pulled up. So the mum obviously thought she heard Lucy scream mum, and then she didn't see her and a van drove off. So she thought the lads pulled her into the van. So she was screaming, creating a ruckus. Now, obviously a mother who have just witnessed like her daughter being adopted would be in a horrid state, screaming. It would drag a lot of neighbours to at least look out their window to what was going on. To then they seen Nathan run bollock naked, heart pounding with adrenaline because it was going through his body. So much so that his legs buckled as he tried to get into the car. So bollock naked, he falls flat on his face as he tries to open the car of Michael, the dad's, as they try to chase after the van, to only see Lucy walk harmless around the corner as if nothing actually had happened.
Like, do all these adults live in the same house?
I don't know what the scenario. I'd say maybe they live on the neighborhood, but like in the same neighborhood. Maybe they all live around in the same estate.
Yeah.
And they just so happen to frequent at this house. Maybe they do. We don't get a whole lot of information about the story. But one thing is for certain: if Lucy would have been probably safer if she was my daughter being abducted by those people. If I was bollock naked, fell in front of a car and she was just wandering around the corner, I would have killed her. Like, she would have wished she got abducted. Yes.
I'm more concerned about, like, why, you know, if they didn't all live together, why is this man naked with his sister and his brother-in-law and his niece in the house? Or why is he naked in their house? So
there was a lot. There's a lot to unpack about this story, and there's not a lot of information, to be honest with you, Ken, that I can give you to answer all.
Can we reach out?
We probably could reach out, and I like the fact that they shared the video of him running bollock naked, falling in front of the car on Facebook. Probably means he might come on the show and talk to us one day about this incident. But I can tell you, when he got interviewed about the incident, his description was he had been asleep and was awoken by a scream of the mother, who had basically was screaming, and he opened up the window to look outside, thinking that somebody had been run over or stabbed. So clearly they live in a lovely neighbourhood in England right now. So he jumped out of bed and tried to grab clothes. Thinking that he grabbed a pair of pants, he only had really in his hand a shirt. He couldn't find any other clothes. So ran downstairs with the shirt that he thought were bottoms in his hands to chase after, and thinking maybe time is probably precious at this stage. I don't have a chance to go look for clean underwear or underwear at all. To only then to find it was actually a false alarm.
Yeah, you definitely killed the little girl. Like,
you, oh man, you be so like, I don't know. See, I gave account of Natalie, the mother, of what she was going through, what she heard. And they also interviewed Nathan, but they never interviewed Lucy, and they never really gave a description what actually happened to Lucy. So you're left with all these questions like, okay, did she know the lads in the van? Did she just like turn a corner as like the van was pulling off and the mother thought she heard screaming? Like, does the mother hear voices in her head? We have so many questions and not a lot of answers.
No answers
to this story. But like, I don't know, what would have you done in that scenario, Ken, where you hear screaming and like you don't know what's going on, for some reason you're bollock naked in your bed?
I'd probably look out the window.
Yeah, like, okay, whatever about being like, all right, you have to get out of the room pretty quickly. I guess in that scenario, we never know what, and like we have to kind of say fair play to him anyway. Like he knew when he was running down that stairs, when he was leaving that house, that he was bollock naked. And he actually didn't actually care. Like, he was that determined to chase after like his niece who was abducted. Like, so like it was like a very heroic thing to do. But like, it begs the question. They did ask this, like, what exactly would he have done if he like had caught the man in the van? Was he going to fight him naked?
There's only so much you can do as a naked man.
Well, yeah, like, but like, are you going? I think maybe like the fact that you are naked, like, people are less likely to want to fight you.
Oh, 100%.
So I think that him being naked might have actually been an advantage to if he had caught up with the men in the van, if she was in fact abducted. Him being naked might have actually helped the situation.
Oh, it definitely would have helped the situation. Like, nobody wants to fight a big, sweaty, fat naked.
I think we can actually give advice that if you ever are attacked and you're a man, that stripping naked will definitely help your cause, because unless you're getting attacked by maybe someone who's attracted to you, like, you're going to be okay. Like, no one wants to fight you naked.
Yeah, nobody wants to fight a naked guy.
No one wants to fight a naked guy. This is like your chances of surviving that attack probably go up.
I'd say definitely double.
Yeah, because I actually think I've seen a video on Facebook where some guy would start a fight and then strip off to a thong, and then the guys instantly don't want to fight him. So, like, I think I can nearly say this is a proven theory.
Oh, it's definitely a proven theory.
Yeah, so
we can say it's proven.
We can stand by this by giving solid self-defense advice to men who may be attacked by other heterosexual men, or at least men that aren't actually attracted to them.
Just strip. You'll be fine.
Strip naked and say, come on then.
Worst case scenario, the lad starts laughing.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't get attacked.
It probably wouldn't work, though, for situations where they're maybe armed.
Yeah. Yeah, because at least they can keep you at like a nice distance from you.
Yeah.
But I guess if you're also turned on, maybe not. Because no one's to get that close to a guy with a boner. We're adding difficulties here. The fact that you could stay erect in that situation might be actually quite difficult.
That sounds like it comes from experience.
This is personal self-defense advice that I have for people. Don't do jiu-jitsu, don't do boxing. Figure out a way of staying erect in life-threatening situations. and you could be safe.
You'd be grand.
Now, in talking about this, he was kind of a little bit worried after realizing that the thing was a false alarm, because suddenly the realization that he was bollock naked in front of his entire estate where there was kids playing, he was afraid that maybe one of the parents would report him and he'd be put on some kind of register. But luckily enough, that didn't actually happen, and he finds the whole situation hilarious.
I think you'd probably have to move, wouldn't you?
Yeah, like, but by the sounds of it, he kind of has seen the funny side of it, and although he knows this was a very embarrassing situation, he's not like, he kind of laughs it off almost. So like, I think for his personality, he doesn't mind. Like, he's probably going to be, anytime there's like a party within this estate, he's probably going to make jokes about it, or he's probably going to see the funny side of it. He'll be able to laugh with them instead of them laughing at him.
You hope.
Yeah, well, you hope. Because if there's scenarios where people are being stabbed on a regular basis in your estate, you're probably going to find it pretty hard to sell your house. Yeah. He might be stuck in a situation where we're talking about Nathan, who actually can't sell his house because he's stuck in a very violent estate. But luckily enough, people aren't abducted or stabbed, at least in this story, in this estate.
Because he's naked.
Yeah, and other people are naked, and they probably choose to be naked as well. Now, this might be another scenario where stripping naked and someone wants to fight, it mightn't be a problem. A swinging festival is back on the cards after probably fans of the festival were feared that it might be being cancelled due to COVID-19. Ken has the details.
Of course they have. So like, there's a swinging festival in Hull in the UK every year. They do stuff like, they have a Magic Mike show. They have for this year they have Madonna, Pink tribute acts lined up. They have stilt walkers, fire breathers, they have hot tubs, bouncy castles, the whole lot.
It seems like a great day out, bar the fact that people are just trying to ride.
Yeah, great day for the family.
Well, I don't know if you want to bring your kids to a swinging festival.
Well, you never know, the bouncy castles.
Yeah, you'd wonder why the bouncy castles are there. Maybe, there's a creche that the kids are like stacked away in a safe environment, so they don't see what their weird, sick thing that their parents are into.
Anyway, they've posted that this year's festival is still going ahead. It's the last weekend in August. It's still going ahead, and they're going to maintain social distance.
How are they going to maintain social distance in a swinging festival? Like a festival that's just designed to ride other people's partners?
That is unspecified.
Okay. So we're going to maintain social distance, but we're really not.
Yeah, we're going to maintain social distance.
Like even on a bouncing castle, like unless you're only letting one person on. I know this is probably the least of our worries in this. we're like debating over a very small part of this big problem with this festival. But like even a bouncing castle is a very hard place to keep 2 meters apart.
Yeah,
especially if you're a grown adult.
They're probably just going to maintain social distance while they all ride in a big pile.
They all are going to wear face masks or maybe they're all just going to have sex from behind.
You can only put the tip in, so they're going to keep at least 6 inches away.
Yes, it will be less because, like, imagine the tip will be less than 6 inches for some people. Anyway, but some people might be still 8 inches. I don't know. We'd have to just measure the average. I guess if it's less than 6 inches from after the tip, then you can't actually ride. That could be like.
Yeah, you have to just stand in the corner and watch.
You can watch and you can take videos or photos, but like imagine there was like a person who has a below average IQ, and they brought their family to this like swinging festival, and they're like, ooh, there's a magic show. Let's bring our kids to see Magic Mike.
Like, but
like your kids are gonna be scared. You're probably already a few scares.
It seems a bit weird that there's like a swinging festival, and like they have music acts and stuff like that seems a bit odd. Well, like stilt walkers and fire breathers and stuff.
From after talking to the last scenario, most of these people, for most of the time that they're at this festival, are going to be fully clothed. It isn't a nudist festival, so fire breathers it's a little bit safer. But you'd imagine the whole idea of this festival is to hook up with other people's partners. That's the idea of swinging.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know, is it just like, okay, there's no riding at this festival, however, you can exchange numbers and agree to ride each other at a later point in time? So
maybe.
It's kind of like you're just setting up in the diary the partners at the festival that you would ride.
You just pencil them in.
Like I don't really know like what's the like idea of a swinging festival. Is it like I thought it was all random that like you show either a keys or a name in a hat, and you, like basically who you get is who you get. You don't the whole idea is that it's a mystery, and you could get like the savage looking person, which will never ever happen, but you also could get like a pure dog. Yeah. Like, so like I don't know if this is like, if it is done the way we maybe think it is, where you kind of you set up, you can maybe say, oh no, they're not my type, that person is my type, but like all they're really getting is generally like swingers are like late 40s, like just people who are just like, fuck it.
You're just generalizing now, Mark.
Yeah, well, I don't really know the swinging community as a whole, but I imagine that they aren't young, attractive people. Like, generally, they're the people who are tired of riding their missus or their mister, and they're just basically said, do you know what, fuck it, I'd actually ride anything else other than you right now.
They're always kind of perceived that way anyway.
Yeah, you like...
movies and stuff, they're always kind of like
late, older. Yeah, later on in life, and just kind of like they're not in the best shape, but they just love to have sex with other different people. They love to ride.
So mad for riding.
Like, I'm not surprised that there's a festival for this, because there's kind of a festival for every weird thing. If just like it was a nudist festival where there was like fire breathers, I'd be a little bit concerned, but not wholly surprised. Like if there are like cooking demonstrations at a nudist festival, or like flame throwing and stuff that like you easily got burnt, I'd be surprised. But like for swinging, you just imagine like how it's operated. Is it just like one kind of like? Is there just certain rooms you go into? Maybe you have to check your temperature now.
Maybe that's probably all it is, really.
Well, they did say they're going to keep social distancing, so like, it would imply that there's not going to be any riding done at this festival,
unless it's from like, 6 feet away.
Yeah, well, would there be actually riding at normally at a swinging festival? Would it just be like kind of an orgy kind of a festival thing? Like,
I have no idea.
Did it mention any like details of the story?
No, I didn't mention any details of what goes on at the festival.
I guess you have to go to the festival to know what goes on in the festivals, kind of entice you that way.
We'll send you, Mark, for...
A roving reporter, Mark Kearns, hit the streets of... Where is this happening? Hull, in England.
Yeah, we'll send you there.
It's in Hull. I'm kind of surprised that it is in Hull. This, like... Anytime you think of these weird festivals, you think you like need a big population. So the US does spring to mind. I thought this was like going to be in Florida, in the US.
Deliverance kind of shit.
Yeah, but like we're having a quite shit summer. Oh yeah. Once again, I was now mixing up the nudist festival with the swinging festival again. Maybe they won't go side by side.
No, maybe.
Yeah, but we guess we'll never know, and because I'm sure as hell not going to a swinging festival. You'd have to be married. You'd have to be married to go to a swinging festival. So I guess that would imply that I am out of the fact that I cannot go. But we do have a married man amongst us.
You just agreed to go.
Well, now I realise like I'm not suitable for a job. Hence, I'm not married. But you, sir, you're close to mid-40s.
You can find some random girl to chat up that you can bring.
Random girl, yeah. Find a random girl, get married, and go to a swinging festival. When is the swinging festival actually happening, by the way? Just so I have a timeline that I can work with here.
It's like the 30th of August.
30th of August, yeah. No, loads of time. Basically a month. I've basically a month to do this.
It's not really. It's like a couple of days. Oh no, it is. Yeah, it's a month.
Yeah, it's a month. Yeah. It's like, what is August already? I've a lot of things I needed to have done. I'll have to get on that, but if not, we're going to need a backup person. And luckily enough, the Shite podcast show has a married man who's close to mid-40s. Well, a lot closer than I am, anyway.
I could suggest a girl for you to bring.
Okay. Anyway, moving on from a swinging festival to Joe Rogan criticizing gaming.
Yeah, what's up with him?
Joe Rogan has recently come under fire after talking about video gaming on his podcast, calling it a waste of time. I'm saying playing video games doesn't get you anywhere. So I have a question for us and our listeners. Is video gaming a waste of time? And could it even be a little bit dangerous for some people?
Right, it depends on the context, because they have proven that playing video games does improve your hand-eye coordination.
Yeah.
But a lot of people got ran over and knocked down and fell down holes playing Pokemon Go.
So it might lower your IQ, is what you're saying.
Like so,
you'd be great at hand-eye coordination, but you'd be shit at crossing the road.
Yeah, like you'll fall in a hole.
Yeah, you might fall down. You might fall in a manhole. Anyway, I know that the video game industry, it's worth more money than the movie industry and the music industry combined. Yeah. With salaries in gaming, like in terms of creating of games, ranging from 36 to 50,000. So some people do manage to turn video games into their job as a software engineer who earns 50,000, with some of the top line online gamers earning 17 million for Ninja and PewDiePie. Respectable 15 million for them would be the top earners. So there are people who make a very, very successful career out of playing video games online, and even if it was industry that, even if it was something that you had a real interest in, you could become a software developer or a games developer, or if you're anywhere creative, you could go into character design for video gaming. And there are pathways to turning maybe what parents might see as a waste of time into a viable career.
Yeah.
I guess, like, on the other side of it, video games are really, really fun. They're really addictive, and they generally take a lot of time off your hands.
Like, Joe Rogan, I feel, sometimes just says things to be out there.
Yeah, I think now, I don't know, I watched the clip where he says it now, but I don't know, I haven't watched the whole entire episode. But I believe that he's recently turned down the opportunity to do voiceovers on the new UFC 4 game. Now, I don't...
funny fact about that is he's never actually done his own voice on the game.
Oh, really?
He's never done it.
Well, I know in a previous episode, or possibly you repeat in this episode, where he said he doesn't like doing those voiceovers because you kind of it's a lot of time, a lot of effort, and it takes an enormous amount of time doing voiceover work.
Yeah, like he turned down doing, like, he is voiced in the games, obviously, and they use clips from real fights for him, because he turned it down because you'd have to sit in a booth pretending you're watching a fight and pretending to get excited about the fight.
Yeah, I can see, like, I could, like, personally, if I had made as much money as Joe Rogan, maybe the novelty of doing it the first time you do it, but after that it would come very, very tedious.
Yeah, like, he hasn't ever done it. It's always just been like old fight footage.
Yeah, well, once again, like,
old fights.
If I knew what it took, like, he probably heard like how many hours you have to do and what you have to do, and maybe talked to a few other commentators who've done it before, said, look, this is what you do, this is what, and he said, fuck that, I'm not doing that. But getting back onto, like, video games themselves, and if they're dangerous, like, I kind of, like, there's a part of me that, like, fully agrees with that they are in fact dangerous, because they are really addictive. I remember that I knew a guy who was a super good gamer. Like, his whole life revolved around playing video games, and he got his, like, dream job of testing video games. Basically, he was play video games, and basically he'd say to developers, look, at this easy is too easy, or like it took me only 3 hours, or it took me 5 hours to complete this on hard, or you need to check. He gave kind of input to developers, and then the developers would go off and fine tune the game based off the gamers, what they say about the game, and he'd test for bugs. He would get incredibly bad tempered when he played video games, where he would smash remotes to the point where, like, guys had to fire him. He's like, look, you're destroying remotes on us here. Like, you can't be freaking out like this. And he ended up getting fired from, like, his dream job based off that. But, like, I know it was like, it was his own fault he lost that game. But they do come, like, very destructive. Developed with such a bad temper. And even myself, like, I'd had to delete games off my phone because literally they took over my life.
Yeah, like, that's, like, you could say that with anything, though.
For instance, I remember the game like, springs to mind for me was Simpsons Tap Out. Now, Simpsons Tap Out is kind of like Sims in the way where Simpsons gets destroyed, and you have to rebuild Simpsons, and it, in a way, like, it teaches you the operation of how a town works, basically, because more houses you have, more money you can collect off individual houses, and you can set people jobs which create money which you can put on into infrastructure, and you can design the town the way you want. The only thing is, like, for Wheatus, who had a farm, for instance, he, like, you could say him a job for 12 hours. So if you go to bed, you know that you'll see for 8 hours, so 2 more hours, Wheatus's crop will have to be picked. If you like miss that crop, the crop goes rotten and you earn no money. So the game kind of, like, incentivizes you to play the game every certain amount of hours and kind of punishes you. And there's other ones like Clash of Clans and other games like that where you get punished for not playing the game and you get incentivized for playing the game. And there's, like, I'd be in work and I set, like, like hour-long missions that I knew that, like, okay, I'd have a little bit of time in work to jump on this and set everybody missions, to the point where, like, on my break, I wasn't talking to people. I was just playing this game. And, like, my whole life basically was surrounded by this game. Literally took over my life, where for a point where I was like, I was determining when I was going to wake up in order to do crops. I was making sure that I had to set everybody missions, and I was basically wasting my time. Like, it didn't, like, by the end of it, like, I had a slightly bigger city than a few of my friends that played the game, but, like, it completely took over my life.
That's I don't know. Like, I used to be obsessed with Worms. Remember that game?
Yeah, I used to love Worms. That's another game that goes nowhere, but it's great enjoyment.
Yeah, like, me and my friend one time, he stayed over at my house for like 4 days during summer holidays. When we were in like secondary school, and we didn't sleep for 4 days.
Playing that game.
Like, we just played that game for 4 days.
Yeah, like same with, I remember wrestling games. I used to get really addicted to the point where, like, I'd be on holidays and all I wanted to get back to play my PlayStation or whatever. Like, there's a point. The reason why, like, I bought a PlayStation now, but, like, I didn't actually have consoles, was I like, it would take up 6 months of my life, and people snigger at that. But if I let video games take up 6, and even now, like, playing the basketball games, I can feel that addiction come back. That, like it's the first thing I woke up today after my breakfast, I played that game, and it was also the last thing I did before I went to bed. Like, and only that, like, I have a little bit more discipline now, where, like, I say, okay, I have to do research for my podcast. This has to be done, or I'm going to go training. So I have breaks like that, but I have to seriously put in, like, restrictions around that game, even to the point where, like, even now I am thinking about, like, just delete my PlayStation account. Now that I can go back training, I, like, delete my account and delete games. Like, the point where it is still like an addiction that, like, you have to treat it like an addiction. And for the majority of people, they're not going to go into the gaming industry. They're not going to become gamers. It's literally just there to waste time. And it's time where basically you're wasting time instead of doing maybe some lesser important things. Like, there's some little jobs, like maybe buying stuff online that I needed to buy, or contacting people or setting appointments that I need to make, that I kind of miss out on because maybe I was playing the PlayStation. Or it's kind of little stuff like that. Like, let's say you had a house, or you had kids, or you had that like few hours of you playing that PlayStation game. Although you say, oh, it's my only break away for the day, it's stuff that, like, you're missing out on in like playing with your kids or stuff like that. So if you're getting, like, where it is disturbing your life that way, I do think you kind of need to maybe take a look at it, or at yourself.
Well, you could say the same though about, like, watching movies or watching TV or even exercising.
Yeah, no, like, once again, like, I remember Joe Rogan, his analogy in this was, he said, like, if you do something like jiu-jitsu that's also quite fun, and that you can get addicted to as well, well, you can look at, like, your coach and see if you got really into it and go, oh, you can be a jiu-jitsu coach, you can open up your own school, you can have your own business, you can do the exact same thing with gaming. I kind of feel like if you get into gaming, you really, really like it, you could become an online gamer. But even if you weren't actually that good at gaming, there's other side industries. Like, you could give tutorials on how to play games for maybe newer members. If you're good at, like, video editing, or you get yourself a decent microphone and camera setup, you could do, like, or even just work as, like, a software engineer, or you could work in like journalists as a game reviewer or stuff like that. There are other industries that are a lot more even profitable than possibly owning a jiu-jitsu gym. Like, I think the vast majority of jiu-jitsu gyms around the world, they do as a passion project, not as necessarily, you might be able to scrape together a living, but it's not necessarily a huge earner in terms of money. Like, a starting salary for people in gaming industry is $36,000 a year. Very few, like, jiu-jitsu gym owners would be on 36,000 a year, I could say.
Would you not earn like 25 quid a class or something?
I think his rates and insurance would be the biggest thing. And remember, you're getting paid a month. Like, if you break down, let's say your gym fee is 100 quid, and you have a member who come three days a week. like that works out a little bit over €10 class. You're getting off that person, and if they come more, and if they come more, it's less.
I suppose it depends on how many people you've got, and
oh yeah, it's more about the size of your gym, amount of members you have, and like insurance is another big one. I think the insurance and stuff like that is the big rent. It's two biggest things that you have to kind of cover, and gym costs that gets eaten up. And then after that, it's like, is your fee. It isn't just like, a lot of people think, oh wait, it's like €100 a month, and they have like 30 people. That's like a lot of money, but that's over a month.
Yeah.
Like if you add up what you earn a week, like in your job, and then apply for a month, then like you go, oh wait, and they also have all these fees. Like fuck that.
Yeah. I suppose. Well, like if you're in like a big gym, if you've got a big affiliate, you'd be all right. Like.
Yeah, if you're in a point where you're affiliate, if you have affiliates who are paying you money, or if you can maybe get seminars every now and again, or people in your gym are getting you to do private lessons, and or maybe you're also a personal trainer, so you can do the fitness aspects of it, or you can do diet plans, and you can also do online coaching that way. There are other side industries that you can go into to earn more money, and there are avenues in jiu-jitsu they can earn money. You can make a living out of your hobby no matter what. But to say like for Joe Rogan to go out and say like, oh, people shouldn't play video games because they won't have a career in it, but they should do jiu-jitsu because they will have a career. And I'm like,
yeah,
like I like jiu-jitsu and all, but I don't know about that, Joe. But like I think once parents, I think this is more directed for as parents. As adults, you kind of know, okay, I can't spend all day on this because I have to do stuff. And once you don't get like caught up, because it's kind of easy even for adults to get caught up playing games. So once I think you recognize the amount of time that you're playing a game, or the amount of time a game takes up in your day, and if you're happy with how many times that, like how much time that takes up, then fine, that's okay. But like it can get out of hand. I think for parents, necessarily the kids, like once they're socializing with other kids. Like, I don't have any problem with video games being a part of their play. Once they're also then interacting with kids and learning kind of like social skills, like how to talk to people and stuff like that.
Like that's another problem then as well, is like gaming being like online and stuff, more so now. Like consoles and shit are online now. Like that's where it's kind of dangerous for kids.
Yeah, you're just basic. Like I played like that basketball game where you're playing in teams of people. Sometimes people turn on their microphone so you can chat to one another, and you just get people there's two types of people who will turn on the microphone and talk in those games: are complete and utter pricks, and people who are just being hilarious. And like, so generally a lot of times, like you don't want to talk to like these people who turn on their microphones anyway. But like if you're like 5, or if you're maybe about 5, if you're like 12 and you're getting abused because maybe, let's say, you're not having the greatest game in the world and your team is losing, and you're getting abused by an adult online, you're going to maybe be fearful to play it, or like it's going to hurt your confidence anyway. And if you're getting that constantly as you play games online, and then you feel like you're irrational as you get better at the game to lash out at other people. So it's kind of like a cycle.
Yeah. Like a lot of the time, like it just be adults that would be trying out the abuse.
Oh yeah, like 100% of the time. Like a lot of them are actually grown men who are like, oh my god, you suck so much. Why are you even playing this? You have no idea to play this. You're like, well, how old are you? Like, like, do you not have anything better to be doing with your day than this? Like, I don't know. It's just like you're playing a game online, and it's a game at the end of the day. Who cares? If we lose, you just play another one with a different group of people, and maybe you'll win that one. They're like it's a game. Like, we're having fun here.
Yeah, dick.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so I think as long as people are aware that how long you spend on games, I think it's all right. Once you don't go over the top in your parameters in terms of like playing video games, like it's not taking up any substantial amount of time, or it's not impeding in certain major things in your life that you have to get done.
Yeah, then you're all right.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah. Another story. Yeah, Shite. Another story that I came across, I found quite interesting and involves nudity. It's kind of our triple threat of nudity. First, we had your man bollock naked, or run out of his house. Then we had, well, I guess, I don't know if the swinging festival, it probably shouldn't. If they're obeying social distancing, they should keep their clothes on. But this one definitely will involve nudity, and it's in Texas, where a Houston strip club has become the first ever drive-through strip club.
How does that work?
All right. First of all, before we get into the story, I have to credit New York Post for having it had said at the start of the article, it's all buns and no burgers at this drive-through Savage Line. Not factually correct, but Savage Line. So well done, New York Post, for this one. So
that's a Mark Kearns level pun.
Yeah, that's game recognizing game right there. A Vivid Gentlemen's Club in Houston is set to become the first ever drive-through strip club, as customers will be able to watch their favorite dancers perform for 2 songs.
Oh, for 2 songs?
Well, yeah, so you basically stay there for like 2 songs, you watch the dancers, and then you basically drive on, and that's you done. I guess if you want to go back around, you can go back around.
Just drive on.
Yeah, the dancers themselves are going to be dressed in tongs, tie-highs, and face masks. So they'll have to perform while wearing face masks, the dancers. And they're going to be separated in a tent by black barricades that's going to separate them from the people in their cars. Now, if you want to tip one of these dancers, you can't actually hand it them or stick it into their tongs. What you have to do is place it on the ground, and then after you drive off, they come over, they pick up the money off the ground. Like, it just seems depressing. Like, it just seems like something out of Black Mirror. It's out of a weird dystopian future. Like, I don't know what this like what the world has become to, but like, this is just seems so strange. Like, this idea of men in their cars just gawking out of their cars as this woman in a face mask dances to like the tongue song, I guess.
The tongue song.
Surely if you're a stripper, that's your go-to song, the tongue song.
That's probably that's really fucking weird.
Yeah, like, I guess like, it's good for the dancers that they are back at work. Like, it's probably been a tough time for them. I know a few strippers like have done online strips or dances for a certain amount of money. Mary Madeline brings to mind. Who's
I thought you were going to just end that sentence there. I know a few strippers.
Like Mary Madeline brings to mind, who's made a quite good living off online strip dances and chats to lonely men. But not all strippers can be Mary Madeline, and few fell on very hard times. Now, strip clubs themselves have said, we aren't actually really making any money off this. This is purely to kind of create employment for our workers. So they're doing it out of a good idea. But like, I don't know what sort of man, like, during work maybe, or like, I don't know, they're bored, they have nothing else to do, so they're like, oh, I'll just go to our local drive-through strip club and watch these performers.
It seems a bit very, very weird. Like,
I imagine going to a strip club is seedy enough, but going to a strip club in your car, where you have to stay in your car and watch it, 100% lads are going to try to touch themselves in their car, and the stripper's like, you can't do that in front of me.
They're not even going to try. 100% they're just going to.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what are you going to do? I'm blocked in right now.
I'm in my car.
I can do what I want. Stop looking at me.
Just dance, bitch.
Yeah, but drivers also can order food, Ken. From this,
you can also order food.
Yeah, you can also order food from this joint, which includes nachos, burgers, chicken skewers, as well as jalapeno poppers, which I have no idea what they are, and other authentic Italian pizza. as well as others, as well as booze. You can order a wide range of like 6 packs, as well as something called a fireball.
A fireball. Well, that's gonna fucking burn the whole lot that's coming out anyway.
Yeah, so basically, they kind of said it like this, that it's basically live entertainment as a sort of distraction while your food is being prepared for you, and that's the way they're kind of selling it to people. So in a way, as long as your girlfriend or wife doesn't know where you're buying the food for you, you're just going out to get a takeaway, and your secret is safe.
So you can bring like what?
Yeah, so basically, you only can stay there for 2 songs. So 2 songs, like let's say they're 3.5 minutes each. That's 7 minutes. I did maths. Get in. So basically, you're there for 7 minutes. Generally, you're waiting about 10 minutes for your food to be ready. So like basically, by the time you get in, get the dance starts going, like your food is ready and waiting for you. So then you can just drive home. As long, like I said, as long as your partner doesn't find out where you've been or got the food, they'll be like, I really like this like pizza. Where do you get it? Oh, it's a place down the road. Like personal secret. I'm not. It's my own little private spot. I'm not going to tell you about it. As long as they don't know, like the Vivid Gentlemen's Club isn't written on side of the packaging, you should be safe.
That's what I was going to say. Like most times when you get takeaway food, you get some sort of a bag that says the name of the place the food came from.
Yeah, but and generally, if like I'd imagine if they're selling takeaway food and they know a large majority of their clientels are married men, that they might maybe opt for like non-branded packaging.
Yeah, but then you'd have the question of where the fuck did this come from?
You just make it this place down the road. Just say it like that. Where does that come? Oh, place down the road. Take a left on Hardcore Street.
Yeah, what place down the road?
Is this like I don't know the name of it.
Mark, have you been in that fucking strip club again?
Here, don't you like the burger? It's a fantastic burger.
I swear I just went for the food.
Yeah. I was there purely for the food. Like, show up and drink your fireball.
How much was the food? Because you spent €60.
Yeah. Well, the food was 20. 30 went to like Mandy. I know that does make 60, but like
I was waiting to see if you copped it.
Yeah, it did. So, but like, in fairness, like when I first read into this, I was already shit over this whole idea of.
You were already there.
I was already there, but I was already the shit all over this idea of a strip club that's drive-through. But now the fact that it operates as like an entertainment service while you wait for your food, I feel like every fast food joint at some point during their day should have some form of strippers for their clientele. Like imagine the McDonald's and maybe like 1 o'clock in the morning, it's kind of like the stripper hour. The place will be packed. You get to watch the strippers dance while you wait for your food to be made. Like, this is an ingenious idea that, quite frankly, I think more fast foods need to adopt.
McDonald's don't need it though. McDonald's is always packed at 1 o'clock in the morning anyway.
That is true. People just drink driving looking for the fast food.
Yeah.
But like maybe some other drive-through that maybe takes a little bit longer in time, that they can have strippers, and you can, while you wait for your while you're waiting in the queue in McDonald's, there could be like a strip show where you can get to see these strippers at 1 o'clock in the morning. The place would be even more packed.
The place would be
fivers flying everywhere.
Should be €2 coins everywhere.
Yeah, so you'd have to place the fiver, but you also need something to weigh it down, so you could put like a €2 coin on top of the fiver. Strippers would make a fortune. I personally think this is an ingenious idea that needs to be adopted by more fast food chains. While you wait for your food, that there are strippers.
We could always open Shite Talk Food.
Yeah, Shite Food Strip Club. Shite Food and Strip Club. Drive-through strip club.
Shite Strip at Food Club.
Yeah, like we could work on the branding. We have several years working on the branding already. We haven't bothered ours, but maybe this might encourage us too.
Yeah.
So I went from like thinking this was a horrible idea to thinking, oh my God, these guys are actually ingenious. We need a drive-through strip club in Ireland while we wait for our curly fries.
Yeah, it's perfectly doable.
It 100% is doable.
Let's do it.
Let's. This is kind of been like a brainstorm idea through our podcast. We've already came up with an idea for our podcast to sell merchandise, and now we're also now create a new venture in the fast food industry,
which can also sell merchandise
of Dave the Duck. We could have fried duck.
We just call it Fried Dave.
Yeah, there's Fried Dave, deep fried Dave.
Deep fried Dave.
But all this talk about deep fried food has nearly made us run short in time, so we've only time for one more story, and it's a very good one. It involves Joaquin Phoenix, the Ukraine president, and a bus being held up by a terrorist. So a man in the Ukraine has held up a bus of hostages in order for the president of the Ukraine to endorse a Joaquin Phoenix film. The standoff in the Ukraine ended after security forces freed 10 hostages from a bus in the city, but not before the city of Lutsk in the Ukraine, but not before the president of Ukraine intervened by prompting people to watch the 2005 documentary film on animal rights by Joaquin Phoenix.
That's a bit of a weird demand.
Yeah, he basically posted on Twitter that everybody should watch the 2005 film Earthlings.
Definitely a bit of a weird thing to look for.
Yeah, now, generally speaking, presidents and security officials or like prison officers are basically taught never to give in to demands on terrorists, because it basically encourages other people who might want to try to achieve their goals by doing the similar types of things. But the Ukrainian president broke kind of tradition and decided, okay, this isn't a crazy demand. By the way, he was in the middle of a meeting with the Swiss. I don't know what they were doing, but they're in the middle of talks with the Swiss. Swiss and the Ukraine are up to something. We don't know what. More needs to be looked into on this. And he had to keep stopping his meeting in order to kind of get updates on the situation as it unfolded, to the point where he obviously had to take a phone call with your man who was holding up the bus.
Serious dedication to Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah, no, like, in fairness, he must really like this movie. Now, in fairness, it kind of has worked. We're talking about it, and it kind of made me more interested in watching this animal rights movie, Earthlings. Like, it's kind of like, I wonder how good is this movie now. The fact that a man had to hail up a bus, like, I don't know if it's a pro or a con on the movie that, like, a terrorist had to basically force people to watch the movie.
Yeah, that's definitely not a pro.
Yeah, so, like, basically, the president of Ukraine, he had basically a 7 to 10 minute conversation during which they agreed that he would release 3 prisoners, a pregnant woman, a child, and a man who was injured. Yeah, but basically before he did that, he had to basically take the Facebook Live and referring to the film Earthlings that was narrated by Joaquin Phoenix and give it, like, basically tell people that they really need to watch it.
Like, I can't. Can you imagine that working anywhere? Like.
Yeah. Now, generally, like I said, like, security officials did have a plan to intercept the bus, and instead of, like, the president, like, taking his demands. But apparently, he had said that there were bombs planted around the city of Ukraine that would go off remotely. So they thought having a tactical operation of, like, maybe getting a sniper on the roof to take out your man wasn't feasible in case the bombs go off elsewhere in the city. So yeah, like, imagine the amount of planning that would have went into that, because apparently he threw a grenade or bomb of some stuff on the bus that didn't actually go off. So maybe he was just trying to blow up the bus. Maybe he was just actually trying to blow up the bus. It didn't work, and he's like, okay, I'll just take everybody hostages. He didn't actually have really any demands, and he's like, oh shit. So what are your demands? And he had just recently watched this film Earthlings. He's like, Shit, you know that film Earthlings? No, I've never heard of it. Oh, how have you never heard of it? Okay, go onto Facebook Live, tell everyone to watch Earthlings, because Fuck Me is a really good documentary.
Or maybe he said, "Have you ever seen that movie?" And the Prime Minister said, "Yeah, I have, yeah." And he said, "Oh, it's a great movie." And we were like, "Yeah, maybe we should tell everybody to watch this."
And he's like, well, let's solve this problem right now first. And he's like, no, nobody gets out unless you do it. Do I tell everybody to watch the movie? He's like, okay, I'll do it. It's a fairly all right movie. No, say it's amazing movie. This is totally not like being threatened of killing tens of 20s of people.
That's what I think happened.
Yeah, I think that maybe what happened. Now, apparently, the movie had won some minor awards. After the video was published, Goodman basically released within half an hour all the other hostages and basically gave himself up to police. So I guess it worked. I don't know if possibly the president of the Ukraine is going to get more demands for very odd things that he has to do. Like people are going to try to push the boat out.
It's kind of like, did you ever see that episode of Black Mirror? Did you watch Black Mirror?
Yeah.
You know the episode where they blackmailed the Prime Minister of England?
Yeah, he had to basically
he had to fuck a pig.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of like that.
It's frighteningly like that, actually, now that I think of it. Yeah. But like it's such a strange demand to have to make in order for it just screams maybe he didn't actually know what he wanted and kind of panicked. I kind of like the idea of like he was meant to blow up the bus didn't blow up, and he's like, okay, I'm taking everybody hostage, do what I want, and the only thing he could think of was telling people to watch a Joaquin Phoenix documentary.
That's possible.
That is very much possible. Now, he was also in the news, Joaquin Phoenix, I think is how you pronounce his name, isn't it?
I have no idea.
Who cares? He probably cares. But he was also in the news because The Joker, which he starred in as the Joker, was the most complained about movie. I think last year, I guess it would have been counted up as in the UK.
Yeah, I seen this as well.
Yeah, I think it got 20 kind of complaints, which made it the most complained. I think overall it was like something about 170 or 190 complaints were lodged about movies in the UK, and they kind of mostly surrounded by like people thinking that the rating of the movie should have been higher or should have been banned at all, as some people suggested in the Joker it shouldn't be allowed at all.
Yeah, there was a couple of complaints about it as well. It said the movie was too violent to watch twice.
I watched it once and it was adequately violent, and then I watched it a second time and said, no, I've seen too much blood.
Yeah, like I don't understand that. I thought it was a great movie.
Honestly, one of the best Jokers that there has ever been. It's up there. Heath Ledger or Joaquin Phoenix. It's take your pick, but it was that good of a performance by Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, and the whole thing was just like really great tone. Had a nice message underneath it all about mental health and about governments actually not investing in mental health services, as well as just being a great portrayal of how the Joker became to be the Joker. Great movie.
Yeah,
but like
two thumbs up from us.
Yeah, Shite Talk Podcast Show, 2 thumbs up. But like I'm surprised actually he only got 20 complaints. Like, we live in the age of where people are very, very sensitive. Yeah, that the fact that only 20 people complained, I think midgets were absolutely berated in the movie. You got to see a man stabbed to death with scissors.
When I seen that it was the most complained about movie of the last year, I was like, oh, there's going to be a ridiculous amount of complaints. And I was like, 20.
Yeah, 20 complaints. That's what I thought. I thought I was imagining maybe got 1,000 complaints. People were complaining about maybe the fact that they made fun of midgets.
There's been more than 20 complaints whenever Tommy Tiernan appears on the fucking Late Late Show. Yeah,
exactly. And the fact also, if you watch something like Endgame, where loads of people die or get blown up, but in the Joker, maybe 3 people die. I know, very violently.
There's quite a few.
Yeah, all right. Well, yeah, but I think it's the level of detail that you go in the violence that I know.
Maybe like 10.
Yeah, I know when they when they were basically just breaking down what are their parameters for how they predict violence and what gets to like an R rating or 18s or 15s, and it's to do with the level of focus on violence or on the violent act that is happening that determines whether a movie gets what rating it gets. And it basically said it didn't meet those parameters for an 18s movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I don't know, like at 15, I imagine like you're not going to be too phased by what you see there. At that time, you've probably seen 1 or 2 horror films already. So like
at 15, you're starting to maybe watch
stuff that's a little bit more gory. Like you probably watched like Scream or The Ring, or you've watched or maybe one of the Saws. You probably watched.
You've probably seen Saw.
Yeah, exactly. So you've probably seen kind of gruesome things in your life already. However, like maybe like I'd say I draw the line at maybe 14 and under. Like I imagine a 12-year-old watching The Joker probably might be a little bit more freaked out or a bit more impressionable. But there's some 15-year-olds that would be like water off a duck's back as well.
Like, I don't know, like I'm pretty sure my little cousins went to see it. Like they're like, I think maybe 12 and 13.
Yeah,
like that.
I remember when I went to see Deadpool, I seen a dad bring his 6-year-old, and I was like, this movie is not going to be for that kid. This is not a superhero movie that you should be bringing your kid to.
There's actually, wasn't there a lot of people walked out and looked for their money back because they thought, oh, a superhero movie. And they brought a load of like little kids.
Yeah, but like, didn't it get an R rating? Like, I don't know. I think it got R rating in the US, but I think over here, I think it might be in the 15s again.
It's either 15 or 18. I don't think it was R anyway.
No, I don't think it got an R rating. But like, you're bringing your kids to a movie that's like all this publicity is about how violent and how graphic it's going to be. You're going to see some shit happen.
Yeah, don't be whinging about it.
Yeah, I remember. I think we talked about this before. Me watching it on the plane beside a mother and his kid, and not turning it off. Like, it probably wasn't appropriate. Now that airline did censor a lot in movies, and I thought kind of interested in what they choose to censor. Like, the sex scene was censored, fair enough, but like the murdering of people wasn't censored.
Yeah, like it's mental. Like.
Yeah, it's kind of. I thought it was weird. Like, people having sex, which is a natural thing and important for like the survival of humanity. Can't have kids seeing that. Watch this guy cut off this guy's head. Cool. This kid will get great enjoyment out of it. Stick that on. No problem.
Yeah, kids love that crap.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought it was. It's kind of weird when you're on a plane where people are watching different kids. Imagine if you're a parent and maybe the person across from where your kid's sitting is watching something maybe quite violent. You're kind of like, they might see like it's something that you weren't meant to. But I guess you have to take that risk if you're bringing kids on like long flights where there's movies.
Yeah, like
stick them on in the inside. I think that's the trick. Once, like, the person you're sharing the seat with, and I guess if you say to them, "Here, look, I know you're going to watch a movie, but I have a kid here. Would you turn off that?" At least you might have to move your seat, or they might have to move their seat. But you can probably solve around a solution where like it will be left okay.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the mother just got moved when I was watching Deadpool. Can I please move? This guy is watching something. And then I think
at the same time, the airline should think of that then.
Yeah, they should. They should, like, if I want to watch the violent gruesome film like Deadpool or the one where Leonardo DiCaprio fights a bear, I'm not going to stop.
Revenant.
Yeah, Revenant. I'm not going to stop watching it because there's kids beside me. I think that's another movie that I did actually watch when there was someone younger beside me, and I probably shouldn't be watching this.
Yeah, but like they shouldn't. If they don't want you to watch it, it shouldn't be on the phone.
Yeah, like I think you should be able to watch, like if it's on the like the TV entertainment system of a plane, it's fair game. You can watch it whatever you want, and if you are a parent, either maybe say to the airline, look at can we swap seats and maybe someone who's not watching someone getting eaten by bear. If there's seats available, or just put something that your kid will focus on and they'll actually watch. Because they won't really see, like it'd be very hard unless they're sitting right beside the person. If they're in the middle seat and you're in like one of the other lanes, you can maneuver away where the kid's not going to see what the other person's watching, and they could just watch their cartoon as well.
Yeah,
there's ways around it.
Yeah, fuck them.
Yeah, exactly. I think we'll leave there, but tell people who have kids, fuck them if you're going on a long flight. You shouldn't be on a long flight. Don't have kids, is basically what we're saying. And on that bombshell, we'll leave it there. We'll be back next Thursday. Any suggestions or complaints, you can send them into shitetalk@gmail.com. Remember to like, subscribe, and share our podcast so you and your friends get updates on when a podcast is released.
Yeah. Let Joe Duffy know that you've been listening to us. Yeah,
exactly. He's a huge fan.
Yeah.
He'll be looking for one of those Dave Deluxe t-shirts.
You will.
And possibly our fried chicken when we open that restaurant.
We should just send him a Dave the Duck t-shirt for the crack.
We'll probably have to get on with actually making a Dave the Duck t-shirt.
And then we can send it to him.
Yeah. He'll be the first person, I can say.
Yeah, it'd be great.
All right. Well, team meeting over. We'll be back, like we said, next Thursday. Talk to you then.
Good luck.
Shut up and sit down.